5G. The journey is just beginning. While today we see early 5G adoption across many industries, its most transformative, innovative, and profitable applications are yet to be discovered. So how do you position your business for opportunities which don't yet exist? Let's look at two things we can be sure about. First, 3 and 4G networks are held back by proprietary hardware and software. 5G is open, cloud-native, and software-defined, running on industry-standard hardware with flexibility to adjust the network on the fly. Modernizing operations and business support systems throughout automation and AI ops will cut costs and boost efficiency. These will likely be the first returns on the 5G investment. But what about new revenues? The big opportunities are in real-time services that combine 5G and edge computing. Technologies like vehicle automation, precision medical and industrial robotics, mission-critical AI, cybersecurity, and mobile virtual reality. We'll see emerging applications in the enterprise sector that run on public, private, and hybrid 5G networks. From manufacturing and mining to healthcare, retail, and transportation, 5G's secure, reliable, high-speed, low-latency, QoS-enabled connectivity means huge opportunities to create new services and applications for industry verticals. These will generate massive data flows which will be most valuable in the milliseconds after they're collected. Integrating technologies like Intel's data plane development kit help accelerate network application integration. Enterprise 5G will evolve in lockstep with mobile edge computing to analyze data and make real-time decisions. So to create bespoke solutions for multiple industry verticals, your infrastructure needs edge computing and software-defined agility. In other words, tomorrow's 5G infrastructure looks a great deal like today's edge-to-core to cloud IT solutions. At Dell Technologies, this is what we do. We bring together IT, mobility, services, and workload management in unified validated platforms and solutions. Our mobile edge computing and 5G solutions simplify 5G rollouts while minimizing risk. More than this, we help create new services to monetize 5G investments. Our proven co-service creation process goes from blue sky ideation to incubation, solution concept development, build, and validation. From there, we can help take solutions to market. Organizational network expertise and our edge-to-core to cloud leadership can help to unlock new opportunities, new markets, and new value. And while no one knows just how far 5G will take us, we do know that together we can start accelerating the journey to new 5G revenue streams today.
"5G is not a telco transformation in and of itself. It's a transformation of a number of industry verticals, everything from government agencies through industry itself. We'll see that same apply across the healthcare ecosystem.
That, to me, is really what 5G brings, not just to enrich some business, it's really enrich people's lives and saving lives. So that it has that kind of fundamental shift and change to our daily living. I think this is probably the most important technology we've had in telecom.
I think generally speaking, the industry, especially observers and not those really deep in the industry, continue to look at 5G as more, bigger, faster. It's more capacity on the air link, it's faster data transmission, it's lower latency. And absolutely those are paradigms and tenets of the way this gets built. But I think more important, it's the architecture itself.
For the first time, we're merging the communication and the cloud together. That's why 5G is so different than the previous generation. What Intel traditionally does, we are present in the data center, in the cloud, and in enterprise. Partnering with Dell, who is the hardware platform that enable all of these cloud and enterprise function, together we brought the cloud, the ever-present cloud into the network.
That's winning in 5G, is to use the technology to create means of collaborating that hasn't been possible before from a business perspective, and mashing up new services and new offerings amongst various partners and building this co-opetition environment that hasn't been possible to date. That's what we've built here at Dell Technologies, is the ability to treat these telecommunications customers as more than just customers, as partners, as revenue generating partners, as technology collaborators, and to demonstrate that Dell Technologies is both willing and able to collaborate in what is a very complex ecosystem of partners and competitors that we interact with every day on behalf of our large customers in the telecommunications space.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the first episode of our podcast series for AI Summit 2022, presented by Axiata Digital Labs. My name is Pragesh, and I will be your moderator for today's podcast on the next generation of telco and AI applications in 5G. Our sponsor for today's podcast is Dell Technologies, and we are happy to have them on board with us for AI Summit 2022. So before we move on ahead with the topic, I would like to talk a bit about AI Summit 2022. Axiata Digital Labs will host its second consecutive AI Summit for this year, from 14th to 19th of November. The AI Summit will explore the future of AI and take a look at how recent developments will impact different industries. The theme for this year's summit is Metaverse, and it will revolve around how developments in AI and the Metaverse are driving business growth. The AI Summit will consist of 3 activities geared towards business leaders, data lovers, and AI enthusiasts around the globe. First is the 4-part educational podcast series, which we are commencing today and will go on till 17th of November. Next, the AI Forum will feature keynotes and panel discussions from several eminent AI experts in the industry and will be live streamed on the 18th and 19th of November. Lastly, the Geeks Hangout will consist of interactive sessions led by global experts designed to develop AI and machine learning skill sets. So coming back on for today's topic on the podcast, the next generation of telco and AI applications in 5G. Businesses of every type, they are asking themselves how they could work with AI and slash cost and also improve their experience with customers and employees. Now, combined with 5G, AI can even be of a transformative force. To further enlighten us on this topic, we are joined by 2 special guests today. Today, we have with us on board Ravi Kailat, who is the client principal of Dell Technologies. Ravi is responsible for architecting and executing business and technology transformation projects for telecom customers in Asia, Pacific, and Japan. As a globally experienced technology, business, and people leader, Ravi brings about thought leadership in the domains of access network, cloud technologies, IoT, and enterprise solutions. Ravi has worked with some of the leading telecom operators in USA, Canada, Japan, Australia, India, and across ASEAN regions as they transform their networks from traditional voice-centric to customer-focused data-driven networks. Ravi is now focused on the next phase of transformation catered around open networks, cloud-native solutions, automation, and delivering next-generation service for consumers and enterprise. Hi, Ravi. We warmly welcome you to ADL AI Summit podcast series.
Hey, hi. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
And for our next speaker, she is quite far away from our home country based down here in Sri Lanka. And joining from Seattle, Marisa Viveros. Marisa leads strategy and solutions for IBM Global Telecommunications and Media Industry. She is responsible for IBM's 5G and edge computing strategy for communication service providers, the adoption of open architecture and AI to address network modernization, automation, and the creation of new digital services. In her role, she is also responsible for the partner ecosystem needed to realize the creation of new networks and enterprise. Marisa is a member of the IBM Industry Academy, the Linux Foundation Networking Governing Board, the TM Forum Open Digital Framework Advisory Board, and she was recognized as High Tech Top 100, the most influential and notable Hispanic professionals in the IT industry. Marisa, we warmly welcome you to the ADL AI Summit podcast series.
Good morning, Prajesh, and I'm delighted to be here.
So Ravi, I would like to focus the first question down to you. So for some years, we have seen AI gaining some momentum. And after some notable success with AI technologies, it's basically gaining some interest. And with this, there are certain numerous opinions that are being formed by many disciplines. However, these opinions rarely include those from people who understand AI the most. So my question down to you here is how AI used in the industry differs from the general purpose AI. And do you see any misconceptions about AI in the society?
Ramesh, that's a very nice way to open the podcast. And indeed, where we have seen AI making an impact in a particular industry, it typically means that your business and data strategy are aligned. That's the baseline where we see AI making an impact. If we link business goals with successful solutions that leading to a successful data strategy, we have seen studies and reports like what we saw in VentureBeat AI in July 2020 that shows that about 87% of data science projects do not make it to production. And why that happens? Well, the common misconception is that AI or general purpose AI is all that is needed. What is actually needed is a complete analytics value cycle. And to drive this value cycle, data is the fuel. Data is the fuel that drives that cycle, and insights are then derived from that data in the form of predictive models, and algorithms and actions are triggered and captured based via AI-enabled applications. All of these have to be driven to a particular outcome, which then brings, as I mentioned, your data strategy in line with your business strategy so that we can actually see industry-specific AI gaining traction.
Marisa, what's your take on this? I would like to hear your viewpoint as well. Any misconceptions that you see about AI in society?
I love your point of view of what's the impact to society. So what we have seen within the past few years, and that there is a belief, probably fueled by science fiction, fueled by some of researchers that wants to recreate the human brain in AI. So there is a belief that automation fueled by artificial intelligence will replace workers. And that definitely will have an impact in society. The reality cannot be farther than that. AI is augmenting processes, especially those where they have repetitive tasks in many vertical industries, including telecommunications. And I like to take one of my favorite examples, customer care. Most operators around the world today, they have a self-service and an agent assist solution to deliver improved services to their subscribers. Natural language processing, AI, machine learning is being used to respond to simpler questions like password change or simpler billing questions. While sentiment analysis, it can also be used to detect the mood of the caller. When those interactions require more complex Q&A, an agent now, so a person, can come in to the conversation aided by AI recommendations in terms of what are the next best recommendations for the subscriber. All of this can result in customer loyalty, while the employees' satisfaction in their job because they have done a great work with the enhanced knowledge. So it is all about enhancing workers and tasks such that everyone feels the benefit of the technology.
Thanks, Marisa, on that input. So now that we've covered certain viewpoints on AI, I would like to move on to our next component, that is on 5G. Ravi, on to you again. So 5G has been started hitting the market since 2018. And beyond speed improvement, the technology is expected to unleash a massive 5G ecosystem. And where networks can serve communication needs for billions of connected devices. And how is 5G any different and how does it matter?
Yeah. See, our mobile telecom industry has done evolutions very well. They've gone from delivering voice in 2G to bringing data to reality in 3G, finally to streaming in 4G. And now we are adding capability to serve even vertical industries in 5G. 5G is truly an end-to-end system. It leverages new principles around cloud-native technologies, brings in an open ecosystem across the radio access network core and the edge, and then, of course, brings in the principles of automation around it. This is a fundamental shift wherein we are now working towards more open systems, which then aim to deliver on a particular TCO promise of 5G. But to capture its full potential, the utilization of automation is going to be critical. And this is where AI comes in, especially from an operations perspective, where the operators have to aspire to be a touchless operator. What that means is we have to have AI-enabled applications that will be needed to drive observability, operational intelligence, and service assurance. And this will be to serve multiple customer and enterprise requirements. And AI will again drive the end user experience as well as the service assurance. It will be important to deliver on the SLAs that will be put on this 5G network. Fundamentally, 5G is not just about a faster air interface. It's not just another G. It has a potential to be a lot more in terms of architecture, in terms of bringing in established technologies from the IT side and kind of bringing those two network facets together. And that's where we see as the 5G rollouts take up and start accelerating, we will start seeing and uncovering a lot more uses and benefits of 5G.
Sounds interesting, Ravi. So, Marisa, now that we've addressed a certain view on AI and 5G, convergence of these two makes very exciting use cases. And the growing importance of AI will go hand in hand with the emergence of 5G as well. So my question down to you here is, in your point of view, what can we do in 5G based on AI? And how does this change how businesses can use AI?
Well, there is a yin-yang relationship between AI and 5G. And what I mean by that is 5G can really help AI take off and create new business models. And at the same time, AI can help 5G while 5G helps AI. Let me decompose that a little bit. AI can assist in planning the network, so that looking at where should I install my radios and my antennas and all of the densification of the network. It can help in building the network, identifying what are the best components. Ravi talked about a disaggregated network based on software. What are all the best components that should go into building that network? And then helping on the operating of the network, as Ravi well said. So this means a relentless focus on automating everything and those automation decisions based on leveraging data and running AI algorithms on that data. That triggers, actions to move forward, becoming a zero-touch really network and becoming more efficient, operational, and becoming more efficient on how we design and build that networks well. So to me, AI played a critical role in predicting operations, which will help the operators find issues in the network, including lifecycle management, before major issues happen. From a consumer, as well as from to add in a consumer experience, AI will enable on how we engage and triage the consumer. So it's a pretty complete relationship about how we use AI throughout the network and throughout many of the processes that are in the telecommunication industry. The second part is AI assisting in monetization of the network by enabling new use cases for enterprises. Operators are making a huge capital investment when they build a network. That includes the spectrum, that includes new technologies, that includes the service creation of those that are being offered. The only way to get the return on investment is by growing into new markets. Consumers are probably demand more bandwidth, lower latency, probably for the same amount of money. So the ARPU will not increase. But on the contrary, there is a nascent market in the enterprise that the operators can help in grow that and bring new value. The densification of the network allows for the massive data collection in real time or near real time, enabling AI algorithms to produce insights valuable to enterprises. For instance, IBM is working with an operator in North America where we are building all of the ends of the network, so that endpoints, the edge of the network location, to serve enterprises in the automotive industry, in utility, energy industries, as well as in government agencies. So you can see that AI will be an engine that drives predictive management of outcome relationships to drive loyalty, and also enable new business such that operators can realize the ROI in all the spends that is going on in the network. So I'm very positive about how we are using AI not only internally within the network, but also creating new value and creating new services that allows the operators to increase revenue streams.
I think with this convergence, we will see connectivity between products like never before. But I think at another level, we will see the connectivity of autonomous vehicles and much more industry-driven applications. And in fact, our next section is going to be quite interesting because we are going to be touch basing on certain use cases, industry-driven use cases on these fields. So now that we've covered the key aspects of 5G and AI, research indicates in the decade leading up to 2030 that widespread commercial use of AI and 5G will redefine how businesses work. You talked about the potential of combining these two technologies. By converging AI and 5G, literally thousands of enterprises will be able to rewrite their workspace rulebooks. So Ravi, my question down to you is, let's take a very common industry, transport. So the connectivity of transport, including autonomous vehicles, drones, and transport infrastructure, such as ensuring traffic lights support optimal traffic flow, will be transformed by AI and 5G working in parallel. So my question is how artificial intelligence can support the wider development of the public transport industry, and what are some of the possible applications that do work in collaboration with 5G?
Great. So first and foremost, let's think about autonomous vehicles as essentially full stack AI applications. There is a lot of computation power now in a lot of the vehicles that are out there on the streets. And what you see is computer vision, which converts inputs from cameras, radars, LiDAR sensors, neural nets, which process this information and guide the car. But let's also look at it from a perspective that the AV's margin of error is incredibly low. Self-driving software should be able to handle almost any case. So there is no exceptions as such. So there's a lot of requirements and strain that is put on this particular engine. Once these autonomous vehicles can be guaranteed to do that, there we see then the potential of where autonomous vehicles could come in to save lives, prevent injuries, make driving safer, help with traffic flow along the way. And while we wait for widespread deployment, forms of this tech are becoming more commonplace. Like you see parcel carrying trucks from some of the largest delivery companies in the world, side delivery bots, and autonomous driving in passenger cars, including well-known brands that are in the news. But let's also put it in perspective. If we look at it, the AV industry has been prone to promising driverless cars capabilities for us by a certain date. We have seen those deadlines slip. So the question then is that, are we by any chance in the winter of AV? And the answer is no, because we feel that the investment in AI is just beginning and we are just starting to see how that will come along. Now, looking at it from a 5G context also, 5G deployments are still nascent in some ways. We have some of the largest countries that are deploying 5G or have done large-scale deployments, but there's a large set of population that is going to start getting more and more 5G in these markets. So we are seeing already, even though 5G networks have not fully been deployed, full service drive vehicle capabilities being tested today, which do not necessarily have 5G connectivity and have everything on board. Where 5G and autonomous vehicles and so on can work in parallel is around when we look at it from a holistically from a smart cities perspective. Transportation, when we look at it from a traffic management point of view, that's when we see 5G with edge capability can come in to further extend that processing closer to the area where it is needed. Let's take a scenario where we have to look at traffic management in a particular area because there may be an accident or a traffic jam. Based on the camera feeds over there in the local area, processing at the edge using AI, using machine learning algorithms, all that can be put in place and delivered much more rapidly over a wireless 5G network, and thereby allowing the cities to keep functioning smoothly. In the end, your traffic lanes are pretty much going to be the lifeline of the city. And that's again where we see 5G, AVs, and that whole ecosystem coming together. And that's the critical point. It's going to be an ecosystem play with all these components working together to deliver on that premise. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi, for that lovely input. So before we go on to our next use case, we would like to take a small 3 minutes break. And I would like to remind our users that there will be a quiz at the end of this podcast. And we will be asking you a question, and you will be able to answer that question via the link that we are going to send you all across the email. And we will announce the winners on our AI forum on 18th and 19th. And expect some exciting prizes on for this quiz. So let's take a quick 3 minutes break and come back to our podcast to discuss on the use cases that we have for manufacturing and surveillance.
5G. The journey is just beginning. While today we see early 5G adoption across many industries, its most transformative, innovative, and profitable applications are yet to be discovered. So how do you position your business for opportunities which don't yet exist? Let's look at 2 things we can be sure about. First, 3 and 4G networks are held back by proprietary hardware and software. 5G is open, cloud-native, and software-defined, running on industry-standard hardware with flexibility to adjust the network on the fly. Modernizing operations and business support systems throughout automation and AI ops will cut costs and boost efficiency. These will likely be the first returns on the 5G investment. But what about new revenues? The big opportunities are in real-time services that combine 5G and edge computing. Technologies like vehicle automation, precision medical and industrial robotics, mission-critical AI, cybersecurity, and mobile virtual reality. We'll see emerging applications in the enterprise sector that run on public, private, and hybrid 5G networks. From manufacturing and mining to healthcare, retail, and transportation, 5G's secure, reliable, high-speed, low-latency, QoS-enabled connectivity means huge opportunities to create new services and applications for industry verticals. These will generate massive data flows which will be most valuable in the milliseconds after they're collected. Integrating technologies like Intel's data plane development kit help accelerate network application integration. Enterprise 5G will evolve in lockstep with mobile edge computing to analyze data and make real-time decisions. So to create bespoke solutions for multiple industry verticals, your infrastructure needs edge computing and software-defined agility. In other words, tomorrow's 5G infrastructure looks a great deal like today's edge-to-core to cloud IT solutions. At Dell Technologies, this is what we do. We bring together IT, mobility, services, and workload management in unified validated platforms and solutions. Our mobile edge computing and 5G solutions simplify 5G rollouts while minimizing risk. More than this, We help create new services to monetize 5G investments. Our proven co-service creation process goes from blue sky ideation to incubation, solution concept development, build, and validation. From there, we can help take solutions to market. Organizational network expertise and our edge to core the cloud leadership can help to unlock new opportunities, new markets, and new value. And while no one knows just how far 5G will take us, we do know that together we can start accelerating the journey to new 5G revenue streams today.
Hi, welcome back to our podcast on the next generation of telco and AI applications in 5G. Just want to remind our users out there that if you have any questions, you all can populate them on the YouTube chat and we'll be able to answer that for you. So, Marisa, you've got some expertise on AI-based applications on the manufacturing industry. For manufacturers, AI promises to be a game changer at every level of the value chain. So please enlighten us how they can use AI throughout their value chain. And will 5G play a crucial factor towards their next shift as well?
Sure, Prayesh. And before I go on into manufacturing, I'd just like to pick up to where Ravi left. And I wanted to mention that I do have one of those electric vehicles that do have a lot of the technology incorporated, not totally self-driving a car, but very automated and helping the driver. And I can tell you that I've been so impressed by the amount of data that we get while driving, where the next stations for charging the cars are, the conditions of the car. And but most important, I found very interesting in one of the trips that it was very foggy. The cameras in the car could detect the lines of the road, although it was so foggy. They could detect the lines and maintain the car in the right lane. So to me, that's not the future. It's almost like the future is already here. So just wanted to mention that. So these things are going on right now, and the new cars are having, the new vehicles are having this technology incorporated. So let's go into manufacturing. As an electrical engineer, I work. My first jobs were in the manufacturing plant, and so manufacturing industry has been using sensors, actuators, and devices to monitor and control processes for a long time. Traditionally, those networks were very close, and pretty much the devices work only with their own data. In the new generation, engineers can capture data from the sensors within the plant, but they can also get data from the outside, data regarding weather, data regarding other devices, and data regarding other processes that are going on in the plant. And AI can be applied in this environment and generate new insight and really optimize the process or the processes and automate those, leading to higher quality products in more cost-effective manner. So 5G takes these scenarios to the next level. And what I mean by that is that it allows for even further connectivity among all of the processes and devices, avoiding interferences for production plans, and enabling better SLAs with 5G network slicing. That means almost dedicating a network for itself to one particular company or one particular process. Other usages are worker safety, monitoring if the employee is using all the right protections, in the dangerous areas, in harsh area, or the uses of cobot by enabling, again, getting into areas where the human beings cannot go, or it will be dangerous for them to go, and also optimizing the supply chain. So I like to illustrate that with 3 examples. Actual work that IBM is doing with our customers in the manufacturing area, as using AI and using 5G. One of them is the automated inspection of a chemical plant with cobot. And cobot, it means collaborative robots. That's the short name for cobot. So the lack of visibility of assets located in harsh environments, inspecting loud, hot, sometimes smelly areas, and to ensure the equipment and the environment is normal, has been a challenge and a task that has been performed by humans in the past. Now, with 5G and AI, we can use these robotics solutions and perform the task. Most important, we can reprogram those robots because they are connected. We can reprogram them and go to a different task or a different environment. So we are using some of our partner technology in robotics, and we're using IBM maximum visual inspection in order to process all the incoming videos and get into the maximum outcomes out of that. The results achieved are many, but among them, enable a more resilient and a more accurate facility inspection operation that leverage infrared images to detect anomalies and leverage video in general to perform some of this function. The other benefit is reduce in time to take action. Automatically generates the solutions, automatically generates alerts and work orders that with telemetry data, with assets, ID, location, and all of that can go into a database or a data or warehouse or lakehouse, as it's called now, and maintain the information up to the minute such that the supply chain cannot be impacted. The second example that we are deploying today with one of our customers is leveraging 5G and AI to achieve a step change in product quality. This is in the automotive industry. We are performing this with one of our operators here in North America. We are using, again, the maximum visual inspection. We're using IBM Edge Application Manager in order to detect those defects that are in the products, which sometimes can mean very costly processes, and allowing them to be more efficient and more proactive. So detecting a defect at the point of installation can be incorrect, provide immediate feedback to the shop floor, associate to quickly learn from mistakes and improve overall effectivity. And then easy to use in building machine learning algorithms at the edge or at the data center or anywhere where the data is being captured in this manufacturing plant, and respond to processes issues in hours versus weeks or months. So speed of execution by leveraging 5G and AI, and getting to product quality becomes, significant. The third example is deploying private 5G in a secure network to allow digital transformation of the whole network. Again, successful pilots for this secure and reliable foundational network has been performed already, so no longer a dream, but actually being done. And of course, enabling capabilities to include personal safety, asset tracking, production quality, turnaround operation. These are all the benefits that we are seeing in the manufacturing industry. So definitely, this industry will take advantage of 5G, will take advantage of AI in order to get more and more sophisticated on how they detect errors and how they can correct errors, as well as taking care of their employees and of course, maintain customer loyalty. So the possibilities are endless, and we will see more and more of these examples to be replicated not only in manufacturing, but also in other industries, like I mentioned before, energy and utilities. Some of those examples can also be transferred to the, so we are very eager to see what new use cases we can apply in this industry and many others as we move forward.
Thank you, Marisa. I think this proves out that AI promises to be a game changer at every level of the value chain. And also thank you for sharing the lovely insight on the experience you gained on the autonomous driving. Just goes on to show that to our viewers that it really does exist. I mean, we usually see this in movies, but they're out in the market as well right now. So our next use case is basically focusing on the surveillance. Ravi, I would like to focus this question on to you. So AI-powered tools are opening new frontiers in state surveillance around the world. Law enforcement agencies, national security, and border management organizations. And can you enlighten us how AI and 5G could impact surveillance domain, and how will this benefit the society?
Yeah, look, AI surveillance is massively controversial, right? So thanks for throwing the controversial question my way. At the same time, it is a rapidly growing industry. We are seeing that there's a deployment of facial recognition systems, AI surveillance tools, and admittedly, at that same time, we see that there's a lot of resistance from these tools from citizens, academics, even government officials in the US and other parts of the world. But the reality is that we have data storage widely available. Cameras are being deployed across major cities. There's a lot of processing power being deployed at the edge, and then all of that is brought together by connectivity, which could be wired connectivity or wireless connectivity over 5G. Essentially, what you're seeing is millions of CCTV cameras are becoming more intelligent and capable of running a lot of these facial recognition, license plate recognition, monitoring applications right there on the edge. We'll see companies, schools, and cities now embracing more of this machine learning software. What that essentially means is that we have got obviously these systems watching the general population, but it does provide a very important tool to provide enhanced safety, which is going to be absolutely important for early detection of any issues or problems. It's just like how you're managing your manufacturing. And you have to be proactive. You have to be able to have the tools to detect it, and that's the way that we think that the surveillance ecosystem should be viewed as a tool, which of course with the right governance and the right controls can be put in place to be able to deliver benefits to the citizens and give them a safe environment. And then the fast processing of all this data is where we see 5G coming in. It's an additional connectivity leg which can be provided. And as we discussed about the architecture spreading more processing to the edge, that's where we see the data being generated, acted upon, and and providing immediate insights and actions. Dell Technologies is, of course, a leader in a lot of these fields, and we are working very closely with lots of enterprises and cities in developing systems that can be running right there at the edge.
Thanks for those inputs, Ravi. So just want to remind our users out there again on the quiz. So we'll be asking you all a question at the end of the podcast, and you all can submit your answers via the link that we sent to you on email. And the winners will be announced on 18th and 19th on the AI forum. So Ravi, Marisa, so having explored on the industry-driven use cases and applications, now we would like to move ahead with certain challenges. So 5G has already unraveled with limited features this year and is taking a center stage among the cutting-edge technologies like AI, ML, IoT, augmented reality, and virtual reality. With the advent of this forward-looking network technology, a series of changes are about to happen, causing a significant paradigm shift in the way operators could conduct business functions today. There will be certain challenges that come in our way with this paradigm shift. So Marisa, I would like to direct this question on to you. What are some of the security concerns and policies associated with the 5G implementation, and how can we overcome these challenges?
No, it's security. I'm very glad you asked about security because it is extremely important domain. Every time we introduce new technologies, there will always be hackers that are trying to penetrate and try to take advantage of vulnerabilities. So before we start into what are the challenges and what will be the remediation, I'd like to point out these incidents. The security incidents are getting more sophisticated and growing in numbers. Last year, we saw an increase of 33% in a number of incidents caused by vulnerability exploitation. That means the software has something not correct. 41% of the attacks was exploiting phishing, which is more of an us users using our tools and not pressing the right button. 21% of those incidents were ransomware. So that means hackers asking for money, a significant amount of money to release a disk or release important information within a company. So these are just some of the figures that we collect every year. And we see these numbers growing year over year. Vulnerabilities being one of the main ones where programmers can do a lot to solve those. With 5G, the complexity becomes even further because of the provisioning of the network slices, provisioning of the radio access network, provisioning of edge cloud at scale. So definitely, the fact that the network is more disaggregated, it will introduce areas where hackers can be penetrating. The other point is these new networks that we are discussing here are all based in software. So there is no longer the vertically integrated solution, but now we're talking about distributed platforms based on platforms like OpenShift for some of them, and with a number of Ravi and I have been talking about partnerships and ecosystem. So in this, to realize these networks, there is a number of partners in the ecosystem that needs to participate here. Then again, integration requires, produces, again, more areas for vulnerabilities. The other point is that operators in companies like IBM needs to protect customers' data for standards and regulations, PCI, CCPA, GDPR, one of the most prevalent one today in the system. In securing the endpoints, we talk about many sensors, many actuators, many devices, and all of those points needs to be. So the spectrum now of the attack vector, as we call it, the spectrum of areas where hackers and bad actors can come into play increases with 5G. Therefore, what we're asking companies, what we're asking the operators to do, kind of focus on three major domains. One is secure the infrastructure. So number one, secure the infrastructure. Secure the hybrid cloud infrastructure, the virtual network functions or the containerized network functions, secure the X apps and corresponding APIs. That's the best practice, with best practice and technologies. The second area is automate and orchestrate security. So this can no longer be done manually. What we're saying is leverage orchestration to deploy security controls, to integrate those into hybrid cloud infrastructure with closed loop threat detection and remediation. So again, another important point, that automation and orchestration of security. The third area is be vigilant in terms of understanding what are the attack vectors, what is the attack environment, understanding the attack surfaces, to test applications, hardware, cloud infrastructure, and all of the other software that goes along. So it is much more comprehensive, and the more automated that this security is, the better. In fact, we're working with some of our partners using IBM orchestration platform to work with our partners to secure the whole infrastructure for the 5G network. including firewalls and many other devices that needs to go into play. But the orchestration part, simplifying that and making easy for system builders and system operators to do, and that is becomes significant in this. Security will never go away. It will only get more sophisticated. That's why we all need to be vigilant, and we need to educate our programmers, our system engineers on how to do and make sure that they have the processes and the methodologies in the automation tools, so to ease the way, as well as helping the security operation team in order to secure all of the infrastructure.
I think now that we've covered the security concerns and policies, Ravi, I would like to move on to a bit on the data management aspects. The evolution of networks involves some tough challenges, the first of which is data, particularly how to shape network operations to be data-centric and data-driven. For example, the data elements within a 5G network are highly distributed. It comes in all shapes and sizes and volumes. After all, data is what drives capabilities like machine learning and advanced analytics. So how is it possible to efficiently manage this data, Ravi?
Yeah. So before we look at managing data, let's consider data source and quality. The most common challenge is a reliable source of data that can be used to then drive those best possible decisions. And this is actually one of the most common challenges with telecom operators and across most industries. So how do we ensure that we have the best possible data from the network and the other lines of businesses which can drive effective decisions via AI algorithms, right? One aspect that has to be considered is the use of open technologies. Dell is a big promoter of using open technologies, and it helps you to provide data transparently based on standards versus proprietary closed systems, which then limit the ecosystem choice that you have for making those decisions. Of course, collecting and coordinating network data for actionable insights is hard. There's a long list of components that needs to be part of the network, but capturing the right data at the level of granularity that is needed to produce results is at this point, if I may say, more of an art than a science. So what should be done? Well, we feel that one of the most important things is to build a reference implementation that can be used across standards bodies and open source organizations. A common understanding of the data models themselves is a basic requirement. A very simple example is, let's take the concept of jitter. Just how jitter is defined may vary from one operator to other operator, or even inside a single operator, they may have different definitions of this. So even something seemingly simple as a basic AI algorithm framework is the first step and a much needed capability to advance the industries. Then we have got vendors and operators who come in who need to develop common AI models for data through a mechanism and then for data sharing. So that means the next step also is to have a model sharing project. And this is where we will see fostering of industry collaboration, promote the sharing of data and models, and then this will lead to intelligent networks being rolled out and being made available.
Thank you, Ravi, for that input. So my last question, and it's actually Ravi and Marisa both. So AI and ML have come of age for 5G, and while 5G offers unprecedented speed, low latency, high bandwidth, reliability, and massive scale for sensors, the full stack operation of the network requires orchestration and autonomous operations to support the emerging services. Can you brief us on the SIP process and any challenges that might occur within the deployment? I would like to hear from Marisa first, and then we can go on to Ravi.
Sure. So my recommendations are in three. One is practice trustworthy AI. So with 5G, we will collect much more data. We talk about edge before, we talk about slicing, we talk about the densification of the network, many more devices. We have the ability to capture more data through these devices. What happened is now when you input more data into the AI models, this may get out of sync. So it is important to do continuous maintenance so those models continue to behave as they were programmed originally and continue to evolve and get much more mature. There is something that's called, and you will have a session on totally on AI, on trustworthy AI, I believe, in the next session. But it's important to understand that the model should not have biases. And that can only be if we practice trustworthy AI and we take care of that the continuous maintenance, continuous improvement of the AI algorithms as you move forward. Whether it is supervised learning or unsupervised learning, I think the problem will be the same. And that is an area that we should take care. The second area, I will not go into more details. I already spoke about it. I think security is something that we need to maintain, no matter what, and make sure that the best principles, the best technologies, and the best methodologies are in place, as well as the processes and education to the employees and to the users. Security starts with the human being. We are the ones that knock up the first error. Whether we are building a system or we are using a system, start with us. And the third area that my recommendation will be, start now. Start building your use cases, start imagining how can you apply 5G and AI within your own systems, within your own companies, within your own domain. Don't wait for the killer app, because there are many killer apps. So there is not just one, there are many. And that create minimum viable products. Start experimenting. In some cases you will succeed, in cases of you'll fail, but doing that very fast and incrementally, I think it is significant for our industry in order to move forward. So that's will be my 3 recommendations on how to move forward with 5G and AI.
Ravi, I would like to hear your input now.
Yeah, look, Marisa has given a fantastic overview about what really needs to be done. I'll just build upon that a little bit and supplement with what she has shared. AI is going to be most valuable when it is operationalized at scale. But let's define what scale means. What we mean by scale is how deeply and widely is AI integrated into the organization's core products, services, and business processes. We spoke about the use cases. If we look at a network operator, for example, the main use cases that we would have to look at is around operations and maintenance, service assurance, network optimization, placing of radios, etc. Right? So when we so it's about putting it into that, but unfortunately scaling AI in this sense is not easy. You could probably get 1 or 2 AI models into production, and that's a lot different from running an entire enterprise of product on AI. And AI is scale. Problems often may come with the scale too. We have seen cases where financial companies have lost money because of the models misbehaving, and that's what Marisa was also referring to. And then there's no visibility into the root issue. So sometimes you just have to then undo lots of work. Weeks of effort get erased and performance is degraded. So one concept that I would like to introduce over here for organizations that are serious about AI is, just as Marisa spoke about security being ingrained in every part of your setup as such. Think about AI the same way. So we could probably define something called as AI ops, or artificial intelligence operations, a new discipline, which then should be set up inside the company, which is then tasked with establishing best practices and tools to facilitate rapid, efficient operationalization of AI. And when it is done right, it will help you accelerate the speed to market. In the end, where does it come to? Like any good transformation, they focus on 3 aspects, right? People, processes, and technology and tools. And again, Marisa spoke about them very wonderfully. When we look at people, get the experts in there, let them focus on what they're good at. Process point of view, standardized how you build and operationalize those models, tied to specific businesses, tied to a specific business outcome that you're looking at. From a tools and technology point of view, pick the tools that support those business outcomes that you're looking to achieve with speed, of course, with the right safety. And this potentially also means that you look at open technologies, so you do have that flexibility also. Surrounding all of that is going to be the collaboration. so that it's going to be an ecosystem play, I think, as Marissa and I have mentioned a couple of times. And finally, with AI, it's very important to have strict governance in place. So while you create this AI ops engine inside your company, it has to have governance in place so it doesn't run rampant in some way. So you're in the race to scale AI. Many businesses through predictive are looking to generate business value through predictive technology, but setting it up right with the right models, with the best models using the best data scientists are not necessarily the ones who are going to come out on top. It is actually going to be the ones who can implement and scale this smartly so that you can truly unlock the full potential of AI. Yeah, that's my quick take on that.
Thank you so much, Ravi, for sharing that input. So as we embark on a new decade, it is evident that the future will shape up to be incredibly exciting for industries as the digital world continues to transform. And no doubt, artificial intelligence will be at the heart of this transition. So Marisa, Ravi, we do have some questions lined up for you from the viewers. But before I move on to those questions, I would like to remind our viewers on the quiz. So the question for the quiz is, one of the challenges faced by data scientists is to develop ML AI algorithms with ultra-fast training and inference capability for future wireless communications like 5G. What are the potential directions to accelerate ML and AI training speed? Choose the correct two answers. So we will be basically populating this question onto your screen as well. And you'll be able to provide your answers via the link we provide to you on the email. I will repeat the question again. One of the challenges faced by data scientists is to develop ML AI algorithms with ultra-fast training and inference capability for future wireless communications like 5G. What are the potential directions to accelerate ML and AI training speed? Choose the correct two answers. So the answers are, these are the options basically. So you have to choose two answers from this. First option is implementing ML and AI algorithms in edge systems with low latency. Second is implementing ML and AI algorithms in centralized cloud systems. Third choice is increase the complexity of ML and AI algorithms while increasing performance. And the fourth choice is decrease the complexity of ML and AI algorithms while maintaining performance. I will repeat that choice of answers for you again. Implementing ML and AI algorithms in edge systems with low latency. Implementing ML and AI algorithms in centralized cloud systems. And the third choice is increasing the complexity of ML and AI algorithms while increasing performance. And the fourth choice is decrease the complexity of ML and AI algorithms while maintaining performance. So those are the four choices to all the viewers. So you can provide your answers via the link we sent across in the email. Ravi, Marisa, so let's move on to the Q&A session. So we have got some questions lined up from the viewers. So Ravi, the first question down to you. Will the latency in 5G is enough to cater to metaverse applications?
The requirements of metaverse are still evolving. There are going to be, it's very much an evolving ecosystem. It's a very nascent play that is happening over there. 5G is going to be one of the access legs as such, which will enable use of metaverse. Is there enough latency right now? Well, when implemented right with the edge locations and so on, 5G can play a very critical role in helping with the adoption of metaverse. We also have to keep in perspective where we see a lot of the usage of metaverse happening, indoors versus outdoors. We know that the strength of 5G right now is more outdoors. Indoors is generally catered to by your home connections and so on. So deploying 5G with edge closer to the end user where the consumption is can enable metaverse use cases also.
Thank you, Ravi. So the second question down to Marisa. Marisa, what are the new hardware advances that facilitate future edge computing?
So there was a little bit latency in the
What are the new hardware advances that facilitate future edge computing?
Great question. So, so there are new developments in having very high resiliency at the edge, but most important, having a system that is fully managed. So the advances is not so much on the hardware, but it's more on how you manage the edge in order to make it fully operational. So when we think about the edge, it's also like a little cloud, like a micro cloud at the edge. You are not going to have many cloud engineers managing each one of these instances. Therefore, centrally managed or having managed operation for those edge, it will be significant. There are other areas. So if we think about doing more AI and processing, data at the edge, there are new processors that specifically to process AI workloads that can be deployed at the edge. It's still in more of a research and experimental mode at this time, but there are new AI processors, together with GPUs and others that can accelerate, computation at the edge. So those will be sort of my response on that. So to acceleration, hardware acceleration, specific processors for AI, and then the fact that you can manage and operate centrally without having to have humans in every part of the edge.
Thank you so much, Marisa, for sharing the answer. Ravi, the next question is on for you. How 5G can assist to improve the performance of AI on regular devices?
So, let's try to put a little bit of difference here between 5G and performance on devices, right? That's I think the question over here, right? 5G is an access technology. It's an end-to-end technology that brings the concepts of cloud native, open, disaggregated solutions into a new environment that was previously very much closed and proprietary based, right? So that's what 5G is. It does provide a lot more capability at the end when it comes to faster speeds, lower latency, a huge amount of capacity. All that is, of course, phenomenal and is a big shift. But 5G, as I mentioned earlier, is a lot more on that. Now, when it comes to what happens on your end device over there, a lot of your terminals, like your your smartphones today, they have their own AI capable chips inbuilt in it. They are constantly monitoring and improving the performance of the device itself in terms of battery life, the connectivity, and so on. But what can happen on the 5G side is more using that data that is available so that you're able to provide a much more better experience on the end user's devices. That means that you are using predictive you're monitoring, you're using prediction algorithms, and you're coming up with enhanced services and improving the end user services so that they don't experience downtime, they don't experience glitches. And all that can be controlled on the network side is where the AI and 5G comes together to enhance in the end user experience. Per se, your on-device capability in terms of battery life, etc., that's very much an on-device kind of an experience over there.
Thanks, Ravi. On for our last question.
I guess let me add, with every generation of G, we get new devices. And these devices, every 18 months, we're getting a new release of the devices. Just by having the change of G, obviously there is a change of devices too that have tremendous computation and tremendous storage in these devices that can definitely aid in some of the AI processing. But no, Ravi is totally correct. It's not about the network, but it's about that. It's the pure sheer fact that with every network you get more devices, and the devices improve every time. So, I mean, that's exactly how those devices, 5G will improve AI and the processing at the edge.
Thank you, Marisa, for sharing your insights as well. So the last question down to you, Marisa. Let's assume even though we use 5G, network can be dropped. In driverless car scenarios, cars cannot communicate with each other or servers. So how can we handle this situation with the use of AI?
Well, with 5G, like you said, the always is a risk of having a failure or having the disconnect. What I will expect that many of these vehicles in the future will also have some peer-to-peer communication. So we will have, maybe perhaps other forms of communication that may not require 5G, but may require some other forms of communication within these vehicles. So, every time we have a new technology, we're also thinking about, okay, what can fail and how can we recover from that? And having a processing at the device allow us to download data before the events happen. Therefore, we could take the backup plan could be that we are processing as we are getting the data, so we are ready for and we have the almost near real time computation needed to do the right vehicle to vehicle communication. So it's all going to be about being smart, about downloading data, processing data, and making sure that more computation is done in a kind of predicting that something can go wrong. So it's more about building the system that can be more resilient.
So if I can add to that just very quickly, I think what we're talking about when 5G not being available or when the network not being available, as Marisa pointed out, it's very much a real scenario, and that's where when we were talking about this autonomous vehicle use case, we said that there are no edge cases, which, let's say, when I say edge, fringe cases that autonomous vehicles should not be able to handle. That does not work. They are expected to be 100% reliable or as close to 100% as possible. So what we will see, I think, as Marisa said, is that you will use 5G where it's available and when available, so that we should, and hopefully largely always available, to be able to get constant updates. But then when that does happen, that you don't have connectivity, you drive out somewhere where you do miss connectivity, that's when the vehicle's independence does take in. There's all the processing capability, etc., that is available on the vehicle, which can be using its sensors to make decisions till a point that it does get back into connectivity, and then that data can be immediately taken up to the closest location, edge, and then processed and given feedback to the device, back to the vehicle as soon as possible. That really is the scenario in which will work. In the future, that would mean that information from that vehicle is then made available to other vehicles in that vicinity, as was mentioned, with some sort of peer-to-peer communication also happening. And that's where we see the ongoing evolution towards fully autonomous vehicles.
Once again, thank you, Ravi and Marisa. So those are the questions that came down from our viewers. So hope we addressed your concerns out over there. So just want to remind our users again on the question for the quiz. So I will repeat the question again. It's down on the screen as well. One of the challenges faced by data scientists is to develop ML and AI algorithms with ultra-fast training and inference capability for future wireless communications like 5G. What are the potential directions to accelerate ML and AI training speed? Choose the correct two answers. So your choice of answers are implementing ML and AI algorithms in edge systems with low latency, implementing ML and AI algorithms in centralized cloud systems. Third choice is increase the complexity of ML and AI algorithms while increasing performance. And the fourth choice is decrease the complexity of ML and AI algorithms while maintaining performance. So we have sent a link to your email, so you can submit your answers via that link. And we will be announcing the winners on our AI forum scheduled on 18th and 19th. So So once again, thank you very much, Ravi and Marisa, for joining us today despite your busy schedule to share your valuable insights and kickstart our podcast for AI Summit. So thank you once again, Ravi and Marisa. It was lovely to have the chat with you today.
All the best.
It was a pleasure
Thanks
to be
for,
with you. Thank you.
all the best. Thanks for having us, really.
So winding up for today, see you soon with the next episode of podcast series where we talk about bridging the reality with the metaverse and AI. So that is scheduled for tomorrow, and you all can join in at the same time, so 12:30 p.m. Sri Lankan time. So let's see you tomorrow at our next podcast topic. Thank you so much.
5G. The journey is just beginning. While today we see early 5G adoption across many industries, its most transformative, innovative, and profitable applications are yet to be discovered. So how do you position your business for opportunities which don't yet exist? Let's look at two things we can be sure about. First, 3 and 4G networks are held back by proprietary hardware and software. 5G is open, cloud-native, and software-defined, running on industry-standard hardware with flexibility to adjust the network on the fly. Modernizing operations and business support systems throughout automation and AI ops will cut costs and boost efficiency. These will likely be the first returns on the 5G investment. But what about new revenues? The big opportunities are in real-time services that combine 5G and edge computing. Technologies like vehicle automation, precision medical and industrial robotics, mission-critical AI, cybersecurity and mobile virtual reality. We'll see emerging applications in the enterprise sector that run on public, private and hybrid 5G networks. From manufacturing and mining to healthcare, retail and transportation, 5G's secure, reliable, high-speed, low-latency, QoS-enabled connectivity means huge opportunities to create new services and applications for industry verticals. These will generate massive data flows which will be most valuable in the milliseconds after they're collected. Integrating technologies like Intel's Data Plane Development Kit help accelerate network application integration. Enterprise 5G will evolve in lockstep with mobile edge computing to analyze data and make real-time decisions. So to create bespoke solutions for multiple industry verticals, your infrastructure needs edge computing and software-defined agility. In other words, tomorrow's 5G infrastructure looks a great deal like today's edge-to-core to cloud IT solutions. At Dell Technologies, this is what we do. We bring together IT, mobility, services, and workload management in unified validated platforms and solutions. Our mobile edge computing and 5G solutions simplify 5G rollouts while minimizing risk. More than this, we help create new services to monetize 5G investments. Our proven co-service creation process goes from blue sky ideation to incubation, solution concept development, build, and validation. From there, we can help take solutions to market. Organizational network expertise and our edge-to-core to cloud leadership can help to unlock new opportunities, new markets, and new value. And while no one knows just how far 5G will take us, we do know that together we can start accelerating the journey to new 5G revenue streams today.
"5G is not a telco transformation in and of itself. It's a transformation of a number of industry verticals, everything from government agencies through industry itself. We'll see that same apply across the healthcare ecosystem.
That, to me, is really what 5G brings, not just to enrich some business, it's really enrich people's lives and saving lives. So that it has that kind of fundamental shift and change to our daily living. I think this is probably the most important technology we've had in telecom.
I think generally speaking, the industry, especially observers and not those really deep in the industry, continue to look at 5G as more, bigger, faster. It's more capacity on the air link, it's faster data transmission, it's lower latency. And absolutely those are paradigms and tenets of the way this gets built. But I think more important, it's the architecture itself.
For the first time, we're merging the communication and the cloud together. That's why 5G is so different than the previous generation. What Intel traditionally does, we are present in the data center, in the cloud, and in enterprise. Partnering with Dell, who is the hardware platform that enable all of these cloud and enterprise function, together we brought the cloud, the ever-present cloud into the network.
That's winning in 5G, is to use the technology to create means of collaborating that hasn't been possible before from a business perspective, and mashing up new services and new offerings amongst various partners and building this co-opetition environment that hasn't been possible to date. That's what we've built here at Dell Technologies, is the ability to treat these telecommunications customers as more than just customers, as partners, as revenue generating partners, as technology collaborators, and to demonstrate that Dell Technologies is both willing and able to collaborate in what is a very complex ecosystem of partners and competitors that we interact with every day on behalf of our large customers in the telecommunications space.